All right, let's get this party started. Hello, everyone. Soul Commodore back at you again. We're back at the painting wall, working on this piece here. We're trying a new a different camera configuration, in which my phone camera is right here. Yeah, right there. And the webcam is right here. So we'll see if it works. But before we get to that, how's it going, Gage? Let's check out this page. I'm sorry that Rebel crashed on you. That's never any fun. Ooh, look at this. All right, let's Oh, which window are you capturing now? Yep, that's the window you're supposed to be capturing. I don't know why you're not. I love Rebel, but does not love me back. Like pining for a straight man. Nice. I like that. Let's why did that undock? No, don't do that. What's going on with my window capture? Hold on. I'm going to figure this out, don't you worry. I might just have to make a new window capture. Because for whatever reason, this window capture isn't capturing anything. Okay, well, now we gotta move this down. But wonderful work, Gage. Like it's I know you said it's not quite done yet, but it looks quite fantastic to me so far. Yeah, look at that. I really like that. Also, all the textures and everything, like that's all the brush texture, that's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Done. Is this a like just something you're doing for fun, or is it for a specific thing? Or actually, you might have said already. I really just have to fix the snap on the jacket. Ah, fair enough. Fair enough. See, I didn't even notice the snap on the jacket. That it was unfinished, but Zeus's daughter, very nice. That's cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Very well done. Everybody, give a round of applause for Gage. Fantastic artist. As a matter of fact, that's not the that is not the scene I wanted to press. That's the one I wanted to press. And give you a little shout out. If any of you aren't currently following Gage, you need to. What's wrong with you? I mean, there's probably nothing wrong with you. You just weren't aware. But now you're aware, so you should. Of course. Of course. Very well deserved. So, in terms of this new camera setup, we're going to see how it works. We're going to see how many times I accidentally bump the camera. I'm going to try and position myself so that I don't. But I might. And if I do too much, then we're just going to give up on it. And we're going to reconfigure. But I'm thinking like if I sit here and paint here, like it should be okay. Like I shouldn't be completely in the way. Like I'm not going to be like sitting like here, you know? Now the only downside is with the webcam. The The only downside is with the webcam, like I'm not really going to be able to face you guys per se, but it's swaying ever so slightly. Oh yeah, that actually might be my fan doing that. Let me turn off the fan. I feel like I'm just making it worse. All right. So where were we on this? We were. Oops. I'm on a boat. All right, just get my brushes cleaned off. This is the last piece we did. Used these same brushes. This is like a record low number of brushes that I've ever had. And the painting competition that I did, I'm pretty sure I accidentally left one of my brushes there. So we're down yet another brush just through that. So all right. There's our palette. There's our palette. Trusty palette. And this is also the first appearance since probably like last winter of this particular sweater, because it is that time of year now, and this is my favorite black sweater. So, and we are just using black paint for this particular part. Yes, sweater weather hath arrived, indeed. All right, so we will put that there. Set everything up here. All right, we'll see how well this works. Yeah, what I need really is like a 10-foot cord so that I could like move the computer like right here, so that you guys can see me like head on. But we'll see what happens. All right, my friend. Where are we on your face? I think we're going to be working on the neck area first and foremost. This particular friend that I'm painting for this piece is the same one that told me last year, actually, that I have a voice for podcasting, which just put awful thoughts in my head of what a podcast by me would sound like. Because it was what I would do is like a podcast about creators. I call it processing, and just talk to different creators in all sorts of different media about their particular creative process, you know? Because this friend is actually a very, very good watercolor painter. So I'll probably have her on. But, like, I'm not going to start a podcast. Lord knows the last thing the world needs is another podcast. But it did get me thinking about what a podcast by me would entail, and it would be that would be the entire premise, is just talking about different artists' creative processes, and I would call it processing. We just have different discussions on how that looked. If anybody on here was down for it, I'd have you on. We talk about you know the multiple creative processes going on when you stream art, because that's a number of different media going all at once. But again, I'm not starting a podcast, so we're out of luck there. It's kind of funny. I was thinking like, what would I do in terms of again, I would leave some time in there for me just to talk about stuff that's on my mind. You know, um, like one thing I would discuss on there, and I would take far too long discussing it because it's something that is really near and dear to my heart. The movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right? It's one of my favorite movies growing up as a child. It's a movie that made me fall in love with Gene Wilder's work. Um, I love the fact that the boy who played Charlie Bucket, that was his one movie, and then he went and became like a veterinarian, like a large animal veterinarian, I think. Um, you know, I love that. I love the fact that the five kids in the movie like actually got along. You know, I love the fact that Roald Dahl, virulent racist and anti-Semite that he was, hated the movie, which good because one, again, if you are putting something out into the world, it's no longer yours. People can do with it what they want. Now, I'm not saying that's always a good thing. I'm not saying that it's always a good end result, but that's the risk you run when actually putting a piece of yourself out there into the world. You know, um, and that's just the way it goes. I feel the same way about Stephen King not liking uh, The Shining, like the 1980 version of The Shining. It's like, well, I understand, but you literally don't have a say over it because you know, in essence, like obviously it's yours, but it's not yours anymore. You know, it belongs to the world. Um, Now, all that being said, there is one part of that movie that I think gets way too much slack or way too much flack, and I will not stand for it. And if there's one thing I've seen online, if there's one thing about that movie that people hate more than Grandpa Joe, which honestly is valid because Grandpa Joe could have been working all these years, but he's just laying in bed. Yeah, all right. Good for you, Grandpa Joe. No, if there's one thing that people constantly malign in that movie, it's the song "Cheer Up, Charlie." That song is so maligned that on when it got rerun on TV, some stations would literally just like they got sent prints that cut that song out of the movie, and people are like, "Oh, it slows down the pacing." The movie wasn't paced that fast anyway. It's like, oh, it's just a slow little ballad of Charlie's mom like singing to him. It's like it's so slow and boring and it's so out of place. It's not out of place. There's songs all over that movie. I personally love that song. I love the fact that it's in the movie. It has a really cool melody and chord structure during the intro when the mom's singing like "You get blue like everyone, but me and Grandpa Joe can make your troubles go away, blow away. There they go." That's a really nice melody. So I understand if you don't like Cheer Up Charlie. I get it. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but to hear some of these people talk, they're like, "Oh, it ruins the movie." It does no such thing. It does absolutely no such thing. Anyway, that's my hot take about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. A movie that was already 20 years old. Well, almost 20 years old when I was born. So, but yeah, my hot take is I hate that movie. Hey, different strokes, right? Different strokes make the world go round. You're perfectly within your right to hate that movie, you know. I have a very close, dear personal friend of mine who absolutely hates The Shining, and The Shining is my favorite movie of all time. So, you know, there are plenty of movies that I don't like that people absolutely adore. That's kind of the beauty of being human, and that's kind of the beauty of art, with it being so subjective. You know, the ability to like look at something that a lot of people love and be like, actually, I don't think it's that hot, and vice versa. You like The Shining? There you go. There you go. I am way beyond my because I was like this when I was like a teenager and in university and young and an idiot. Um, where I would be like, "How dare you?" I mean, I wasn't that bad, but like the "How dare you not like the things that I like?" Like you're allowed to not like the things that I like. There are plenty of people who I'm sure hate the Commodores, you know, and they're my favorite band. I am more or less indifferent to Taylor Swift, and people go crazy over Taylor Swift. I can appreciate her talent, but I'm more or less indifferent to Beyonce's music. She's got amazing skill, but I'm more or less indifferent to it. Say I'll take it or leave it. Like Beyonce comes on, I'll bop to it a bit, but I'm not going and buying any albums. Um, some people lose their minds. I will say it's a little ridiculous when I get online and I see people say like, Beyonce's overrated. She's not that good a singer. It's like, okay, I think you're just objectively wrong there. But at the end of the day, it's still different strokes for different folks. It's all good. Not saying anything about the man himself because he's not that great a person, but Seinfeld was a fantastic show, in my opinion. And yet there's a lot of people who absolutely hate it. Mate has awoken. I should see if he wants food. Hey, go for it. Go for it. Hope y'all have some tasty food. He does want a dinner. I must food him. Fair enough. Well, I hope you're able to make something. Well, I mean, I know you'll make something tasty, but I hope you both find it tasty. We're gonna be here for a while, so if you're able to pop back in, please feel free to. Always good to see you, Gage, and thank you very much for sharing your art with us. That's also always a treat. I love it. Yeah, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was right up there in terms of like quintessential like childhood movies. Right up there with Brave Little Toaster for me, and in terms of formative movies, and Batteries Not Included, and um, well, Space Jam, Twister. Twister wasn't a kids movie, but I watched it plenty when I was a kid. Okay. Let's see, what else are some oh, before I actually get off my lazy ass, my mom made me watch Return to Oz as a child repeatedly. Also, another trauma on Laserdisc. Laserdisc. But I liked it a lot better than a Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Fair. Fair. Another movie hot because I've never actually I've seen clips of it. All right, take it easy. Take it easy, Gage. Hopefully you have an amazing dinner. And yeah, just for fun. I always feel like somebody's watching me. I've never actually seen all of Return to Oz, but I know like the Wheelers and all that kind of stuff. I that can definitely be. I can see that being traumatizing for children. No question. Oh, true. Yeah, I could probably find it somewhere. Yep. It's one of those movies that I've been meaning to watch for years, ever since I first read about it on, of all things, crack.com when I was in university. And to be honest, I probably would have eaten that up as a kid because as terrifying as scenes like that were, I think it's a reason why I love horror movies so much, and I love like horror related stuff in non-horror movies. You know, stuff that's like terrifying, because of like the boat ride scene in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and characters like the Wheelers. Again, I didn't watch that movie when I was a kid, but I probably would have eaten that up. Or Brave Little Toaster with the clown dream, where the evil clown gets right up in the face of the camera and goes, "Run." You know, I love that. And along the same lines of a piece of media that's maligned for one certain scene, or the scene itself is maligned, but I don't understand it. The number of people who cannot stand, whether because they're terrified of it or because they think it's dumb or whatever, the amount of people who do not enjoy the pink elephant scene in Dumbo is like, yo, fair enough. That's your opinion. That's your opinion. You are more than welcome to have that opinion. I do not share that opinion. That's my favorite scene in that movie. I love the pink elephant scene. I love the song that goes along with it. I love the animation that goes along with it. I think it's an absolute treat. It's more entertaining for me than anything else in that movie. It's the only part of that movie other than the. Well, I'll talk about the Jim Crows in a minute, but I'll talk about the crows in a minute. But um, no, I love that scene. I also love the fact that like it paints this picture of like, because they get drunk on bubbly, like some beer falls into water and they drink it, and they get all like loopy and they hallucinate all these things. Alcohol, at least as far as I can tell, as far as my um experience goes, just straight alcohol doesn't make you hallucinate. I mean, it may for some people, but as far as I know, it doesn't make you hallucinate. But Dumbo and Timothy the Mouse were hallucinating all sorts of stuff. But the scientific inaccuracy aside, what a great little scene. And was it terrifying? There were parts of it that were scary, but it intrigued me. You know, it was like, ooh, why did I find that? What was scary about that? I want to rewatch it over and over and over again, and I did. Wore that tape out, and it was great every single time. Love it. Now I don't love the crows. I mean, were there worse representations that Disney put out about black people? Yeah. I mean, just about every media company did back then. Um, but the fact that the main crow was named Jim Crow after the Jim Crow laws that inhibited black people in so many different ways, from being able to buy property to where they could sit on a bus, like it just ushering in a new age of segregation. Like, not a great move by Disney. and then to have the crows basically be like caricatures of black people, um, positive as they may be in the movie, from what I can remember, but still caricatures and not great. And all, yeah. And also, I'm pretty sure they got white actors to play their voices. But hey, well, hello, Maori. How are you? Hope I said your name right. If I didn't, please, I do apologize. But how you doing? We're all good here. We're just doing a little painting. Hope you're doing well this fine evening or whatever time of day it is for you. We're just doing some painting. At least trying our best to paint. Welcome on in. So you know that works because that's supposed to link up to this, which I'll extend this out a bit. And I'm gonna throw in a couple of eyelashes there, just because. Why not? There we go. All right. So what's the next area that needs shading? I guess we're gonna go down into the nose now, which I don't know. This makes me a little nervous. I'm a little bit nervous about coming down in here, but it needs to be done. It needs to be done. Just gonna check something on my computer real quick. Make sure we're all good. And it seems we are. All right, what's going on? There we go. I was just getting a notification on my computer, and it's like, what for? Like, it's just, they really want me to update to that new version of Windows 11 or whatever. And it's like, no, I'm good. I'm good for now. So I was just getting rid of that notification for at least the time that we're together doing this, you know? All right. Actually, this is a little bit substantial than I made it earlier. There we go. Okay, and now this kind of sweeps down into here. Ooh, good song. Good song. And we are gonna wipe some of this away. And then we'll just continue. And basically what I'm doing here is just very little paint on the brush. I'm basically just putting in the shadow here, which I guess it just comes straight down, doesn't it? Alright, you need a little bit more paint. Just a little bit. I'm just going to come down here. How does that look? That doesn't look too bad at all, actually. Yeah, not too bad. Okay. Good. There we go. Now I can see all three of the volume mixers on OBS. Now this outside has to be a little bit darker, so darken that up just a bit. I think I need a new brush, if I'm being honest. Like a different brush. That brush is relatively new. Like actually new. But this is a different brush. So here, I basically have to go with very little paint on the brush. Here. That, of course, in there is going to be a lot darker, but in the meantime, we have a very light shade all coming through here. Some very light shading, which I'm not even sure if that's showing up on the camera, but oh, it kind of is, yeah. And I'm gonna have to blend that a little bit more through here. Just like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna need a smaller brush to do all this, but so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But around this nostril, we're definitely gonna need darker shades of the paint. Yeah. That might have been too dark, but that's okay. We can more or less, excuse me, erase some of it away by taking a slightly damp cloth while the paint is still wet, just kind of rubbing it away. It might be okay. Actually, this side that I need to get rid of some of that paint. This song I first heard in a video done by Alvin Zhu, who is a cook and a chef and all that on YouTube. Very famous for doing videos of like very, very long, like 150-hour meals and whatnot. And it was for, I think it was 120 or 150-hour chocolate cake. Which one of these days I'm gonna make that cake. The problem is, I don't really have an occasion to make that cake for. And I would just make it for like my wife and I, but my wife doesn't particularly like chocolate cake. So it would basically just be me eating it, and I can't, at this point in my life, I cannot justify eating an entire chocolate cake to myself. I mean, I'm not sure if you can, well, yeah, you can justify it. You want it, you can do it. But I can't justify to myself eating an entire chocolate cake to myself. So I don't really have an occasion to do so. One of these days. One of these days I'll do it. Okay, this is where I'm gonna want the smaller brush. I need to find a few stiffer brushes is what I need to do. Hopefully I wasn't leaning too much into the thing there. Finer details in here that are a bit darker than what we were working on before. Didn't turn out 100% like I wanted, but and that's what the wet rag is for, or damp rag. I could just pick up some of that paint and then end up fixing it. That part of the nose is fine. It was the underneath part that needed a little work. Man, noses are so difficult. They're such a finicky thing. Having to do a lot of erasing here. I mean, as much as you can erase paint, acrylic paint particularly. Okay, let's try this section again. I suppose it's not too bad, looking at it from a distance. Up close, it's a little rough, but from a distance, it's not too bad. I'll take it. The toughest thing I find with doing stuff like this, especially with all this fine detail, and you're not putting a whole lot of paint on the brush, but you're still putting a bit, is trying to make sure that your paint doesn't actually dry out in the brush before you're done. That can be a little iffy at times. Clean this up some more. Good. All right, now let's do it up under here. Yeah, looking at it on my screen, like the nose seems to be taking pretty good shape. I want to make sure that that continues, you know? Need a little bit more paint on the brush. that. And I apologize if it doesn't seem like I'm saying too much. That tends to happen when I'm concentrating on a section. I do apologize. Just I tend to concentrate and then I forget that I'm streaming and I should be speaking as well. All right. I'll come up under here. Start doing some shading on this side of the nostril. Give it dimension. Because really that's what all this shading is for, is to give this, actual dimension and depth. Rather than just looking like a 2D illustration. Which there's nothing wrong with that if that's the look you're going for, but it's not quite the look I'm going for. Okay. Now we've got a bunch of shading this way. What happened to music? Oh, there it is. He's just taking his time. Yeah, that actually looks pretty darn good so far. Fairly happy with that. And we just have the other side of the nose to do, and then we can go on to the lips. All right, that's enough thinking. Let's start doing. We know what we got to do. Dark bit of shading here above the nostril. To again give it more depth and shape. Okay, and now I'm going to switch brushes again. Slightly larger, stiffer brush that we had. Clean it off. And then gonna get some paint off of there. Still too wet. That's not good. And hopefully that's dry enough. This side is going to be pretty much the same shade as it is on this side. But first, I have to kind of shade this side of the nose up. Okay. I'm basically just following out the lines that I drew previously. And then that's up there where that's where that gets darker. But not bad. Not bad. I caught myself watching some speed runs the other day. And by that I mean I forgot that I had a speedrun.com account and remembered, and then went on there and just started watching various speed runs, and then settled on watching Celeste speed runs, and now guess who's playing Celeste again? I by no means am gonna try and like speed run it or anything like that, but it got me watching those speed runs got me itching to play again. But no, I do not have the time or the patience to try and learn Celeste speedrunning. Not at all. But kudos to the cats that do. It's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. I do want to add just a little bit more dimensionality to this side of the nose. giving it just a little bit more shape. And of course, through this area, there is deeper shading than yeah, if you catch me glancing at the computer screen, like where my webcam is, it's because looking at this feed with this camera, just looking through that, like it kind of affords me the ability to see the painting from a distance, if you will, because I'm sitting pretty close to it. So it affords me the distance to see, like, am I on the right track or do I gotta fix things up? And so that's what I'm doing. But we seem to be on the right track so far. Now I will say the right side here is looking a little off to me. And this is a person that I know, so I want her to actually look like herself. I want to get this right. That is the scary thing about doing portraits of people that you know. Like, what if I mess up and they end up not looking like themselves? But that's when you just kind of have to trust your own instincts. Trust that you have the skill and the knowledge to know what to do, how to take a step back and reassess. You know? Gotta just gotta do a lot of trusting, which is admittedly very difficult to do. I think all of us at one time or another have had opportunities where we've second guessed ourselves. So it's by no means easy. But it's kind of the barrier you have to push through, especially when you're doing, again, portraits of people that you know. You have to follow the guidelines you set for where things are going to be set up and all that. And then eventually you'll find your way around it.
How does that work?
Yeah. So there's a bright spot right around her eye. But before we get to that, we need to blend this out a little bit more. And then there's shading up underneath the eye here. And the eye itself, well, I'm going to get a smaller brush to do that part. Just really have a smaller brush for that part too, but looking pretty good. Coming together. What time is it now? 10 after 7? We'll probably go another 30 minutes or so. I think that'll be good. We're probably not going to get to two... I said on Blue Sky that I wanted to try and get 2 sections done, but I think we're just gonna be making a good amount of headway on one. So I don't even think we're gonna get done this section, but that's okay. There we go. Okay. Now, what do we want to move on to next? There's a good amount of shading that I can do on the. You know what? Let's do the lips, because I've been scared to do the lips for like a long time. So we might as well strike while the iron's hot and do the lips. After we remember to wash off that brush. Okay. So, with the lips. The upper lip, we're basically just filling in where it's dark, where it's the darkest. Noses are difficult just because of their shape and dimensionality, but I would say that lips are even tougher because it's really easy to make lips look flat. And no one has flat lips. Some people have like narrower lips, but no one has flat lips. Okay. We'll take some paint off the brush. The upper lips don't have too much dimension to them, other than a few lighter spots. The lower lip that we really want to make sure we get. Although it's not looking too bad. All right, here we go. This one's going to be the harder one. Again, we're just going to go in with very little paint on the brush as a first pass. and then just kind of build up as we go. And I know this looks very rough right now, but don't you worry. It's gonna look good in a second. That's the thing about art sometimes is sometimes it looks real rough and then it all comes together. Part of where the trust in your own skill and knowledge comes in. A lot of times things look real messy before they look nice and clean. That can really be said for anything, for being honest. Now, what we gotta do is we gotta come down here. We gotta darken up the bottom part of the lip a bit more. And actually, we might be better suited to do that with the other brush. Again, with the stiffer bristles. Do, 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 do. So that's nice and dry. Get as much paint off of it as we can. Okay, that looks pretty good. I am going to then take this rag, kind of lighten up a few areas here on the mid lip. Just like so. Gonna get a little more paint on the brush and kind of redo this center part just a bit more. There we go. Just to make that a sharper line. Okay. And now we're gonna do a bunch of shading in and around the lip. For instance, there's a nice little area of shadow right here. Area is all shadow. Basically just gives extra dimension to the entire area. So nice. Okay. Now on the chin, shading here. I know it doesn't seem like much, but doing this really adds a good amount of dimension back into the piece, back into the face. Here. Now, need some more paint. Now we're going to do the forehead area, which you can see here is pretty dark already on the one side, just above the brow line. Across. There's a good amount of shadow at the top. Up here. We need a little bit less paint. Yeah, that's better. Then before you know it, you have a figure that actually has some dimension to it. I'm gonna clean up that hairline a bit. So. Okay, not bad, not bad. Looking pretty good. Okay, and now up here, I'm gonna get the smaller brush. Actually, while I'm doing this one part, I'm gonna dry off this brush and we'll let it air dry. Because I can take this darker a bit coming this way based on the reference photo. So that's what I'm gonna do. I can also make this in here darker. Which is what I'm also gonna do. But in the meantime, we need a few mid-tones up here in the hair, up at the top. Oh, you guys just realized you can't even see what I'm doing. My bad. That happens from time to time. I apologize. I'm always slightly embarrassed when it does. I get too wrapped up in what I'm doing, then I forget, like, oh, what can you guys actually see? What? Okay, let's come in here, darken this up a bit. Love. crease. There we go, that's a little better. Oh, no, that's not right. I might take that hair out later, but for now I'm going to keep it in. Yeah. All right. Things are looking pretty good here. Okay. There we go. I think that's gonna... Well, I'm not gonna say that that's gonna do it, but that's the most I'm gonna do with this figure before I mess it up. Now let's take this paint off and see how it looks. Peel this tape off. Honestly, if you're ever getting like painter's tape to do stuff like this, you should get like this green tape. I just get it from like the dollar store. It works so much better than like actual blue painter's tape. It's ridiculous. And there we go. So we didn't get 2 sections done, but we got 1 section done. So yeah, because I don't think I'm touching this again because I don't wanna mess it up. But yeah, there we go. We got well, after I do this one last thing, then we'll leave it alone. This is just a little bit too curved for my liking, based on the reference image. And it makes her nose look way too crooked up here, so I'm just gonna fix that real quick, and then we'll call it a stream. Now, thankfully, that area is fairly dark, so I don't have to go too light on the pigment on the brush, but it actually kind of comes here. And then straight down. There we go. That's better. Has just a little bit more dimension. There. Okay, now we can call it a stream. All right, well. Thank you. Oh, my hat's all crooked and everything. Thank you everybody for coming on in. I really do appreciate seeing all of y'all. Gage, in case you're lurking, thank you very much for sharing your artwork with us again earlier. Stop this from rumbling. But yeah, we finished this this middle figure here. Not quite the middle of the painting. The very center of the painting is this guy right here. That's the middle strip. Ooh, we're finishing on another good song. This is one of my favorites of this playlist. But yeah, thank you again, everybody, for coming on in. I hope y'all had a good time. I had a good time. We got a lot done today, even though it doesn't seem like it. We got a lot accomplished today. So I'm very happy. Let's see who is on. Who's doing what? let's see. Um, you know what? Base Windu's on. We can go raid base Windu. Or did someone else just pop up? Well, you know what? Potchfad's doing art. Let's see what they're up to. Oh, there's ads. Okay, hold on. Hold on. But it looks like Potchfad's doing some sort of art. I'm not quite sure what yet, but we'll find out soon enough. I guess I'll take this time to tell you guys when we'll be streaming next. We'll probably be working on this. Hopefully, I'll have a little bit more of it done in the meantime. But we'll be working on this next on Monday. This next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern again. In the meantime, on Sunday, I think at 11:30 a.m. We'll be doing some more Undertale True Pacifist route because I can't bring myself to kill any of the creatures in the underground. I don't want to do that. So we'll be doing that on Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. So if you're into a True Pacifist run, we are getting toward the end of the neutral ending, and then we'll be doing the True Pacifist ending after that. So if that interests you, feel free to tune in for that. If you're really only interested in art, hey, like I said, we'll be back to this on Monday at 6 p.m. So it should be a good time. And these ads are still going. 30 more seconds. But yeah, that's my plan is to do that. So we'll see how this goes. I'm hoping by the time we stream this again, that I'm gonna have at least these 2 sections done. I'm gonna work on those in the off time, and then we'll just have 4 left, and that'll be good, you know. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's see what Potchfads are working on. Ooh, you know what? That looks absolutely dope. So yeah, we're gonna go raid Potchfad because that looks sick. They're doing something with like it looks like markers. Like some designed stuff. So let's go say hello. If I can get OBS to cooperate. There we go. So let's raid. There we go. Now, intended for mature audiences, so be mature, everybody. But yeah, hopefully y'all have a fantastic rest of your night. Thank you again for coming on in. Yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your night. If I don't see you, hope you have a great rest of your week, a great weekend. It's Friday tomorrow, so weekend's coming. I know there are a number of you out there who probably work weekends, so it's not quite the weekend for you, but hey, I hope you have a great rest of your week regardless, and let's go say hi to Potchfad. All right, take it easy, everybody.